Yeah, because he made a statement about how they know what's in the center of the earth when some dude only mined a few feet down.
Well,
So
do you mind if I restate the statement because you just said false there? What I said in the last stream, in case anybody didn't catch it, the question I asked him was about, he claimed that, such and such is in the center of the earth. So I brought up the historical and scientific account of the Soviet Union's scientific project called the Kola Super Deep Borehole from the 1980s, which holds the world record for being the deepest man made hole ever dug. And I asked him about it. How do we know what's beyond that point if this deepest hole in the world, nobody's ever went beyond that, 8 miles down? So how do we know what's, hundreds of thousands of miles past that if no human has ever been past that milestone? That was the question I asked. So it wasn't some dude in his backyard digged like a 5 foot hole. That wasn't the question. The question was about these scientists in the Soviet Union. They dug this deep hole, deepest in the world, and nobody's been beyond that. So how do we know what's in the center? Because we've never been there. That was the question.
the reason why I ask is because geology is a science that studies the earth. Like the study of the earth is called geology. Geologists don't only rely on a drill or dug hole to analyze or interpret what's going on in the center of the earth. You could go as far as like the you could go as far down as the molten core, because in
But how do you know it's
geology,
a molten core, though?
I,
Nobody's been there. That's the whole point I'm
if you
saying.
if
You
you
don't know.
if you let me finish my statement, you will know in a second.
Okay.
Geologists don't just rely on dug or drill holes to study the earth when it comes to like the core of the earth, the interior of the earth. They rely more on studies of the plate tectonic movements and volcanic activities, because these are natural phenomena that access details that goes way further down than you trying to drill a hole, you know. So the
Can you name one of them, though? You
how
can't
plate
name one.
tectonic how plate tectonic work, it's like the surface crust of the earth. There are parts of the crust that move. They're moving parts. Like you got like different plates. Some of these plates are harder than some, have different hardness, and it all depends on different mineral deposit and different mineral composition. So the softer plates are constantly being driven under. Those that driven under reach the point where they actually get molten and recycled upwards again. Some of this happen wherever you got like two plates meet and stuff. Usually those region, you usually have fault lines or volcanoes, and the heat, most of the thermal energy that causing the melting of the plates and the melting of the lava inside the volcanoes are coming from the molten core of the earth. The movement of the plate, a lot of the movement of the plates also shows, uh, give details about the rotation of the earth, the movement of the core inside, that it's not solid but it's actually molten and it's in motion. It also gives details of the thermal energy and the magnetic field. So geologists are not just drilling a hole and try to drill as far as they can go. and that's the limit of their information. That's why I'm saying in science, observation is not just done by someone trying to look with their eyes. Scientists imply many other means to make these observations. You know, so even though we can't physically see what's inside of the earth, there are
Real quick,
many,
you
many,
made a
many
statement.
other ways for scientists to determine what's in there.
Okay, but real quick, you made a statement and said that there were other deep holes, like deeper than the one I mentioned earlier. Which, for the record, the Guinness Book of World Records claims that the Kola Super Deep borehole is the deepest man-made drilled hole ever. That's the
I, I
deepest.
make
You
I
cannot show
made
me
no
one deeper than that.
statement. I made no
So your
statement
argument is
about
invalid
any
on that.
I made no statements about any hole. So you're trying to pull a straw man
You said
because
drilled. Did he
listen,
not say
listen.
drill down? He
Li-
said drill
you're
down.
listening with a bias. You're not listening to hear the conversation.
I
You're
heard the
listening with
word
a
you said.
bias. No, you didn't. Because I said geologists are not depending on any drill holes to make observation of the core or of the center of the earth. They're implying other means. I told you about the plate tectonic movement, and I also told you about volcanic activities. Why are you going back to drill holes?
Okay, now for the record, I don't disagree that as you go deeper into the earth, it gets superiorly hotter as you go deeper. I agree to that. Now, as to why that happens, all we can do is speculate because no humans ever went beyond the point I've shown. Now, say for instance, some religious people, some Christians might claim that hell is down there. Maybe that's why it is, so hot down there. Others might say, lava might be down there, magma. Again, these are all good guesses, but to say that we know for 100% fact what's in the core of the earth, that would just be speculation because we've never been there. So to say we know for sure on any side of the argument, flat earth, globe earth,
Hell is
triangle
a
earth,
good guess.
you don't know. And to pretend you know,
Yes, we know. We know.
Hell is a good
We
guess.
know.
That's in the
We know.
center of the earth.
Hold on. That's what I'm
Just because I want
asking.
to conversate
Your
with you.
level in science is very poor because if you know anything about magnet, you will know that hell is not in the center of the earth. It's molten. It's literally a molten core of iron, nickel, and the iron, nickel, gold, lead, and some of the heaviest
did I
elements
break a rule or
that you're
something
gonna
just so I
find.
know? Did I break a rule
No,
because
I'm
I got
telling you.
removed? Hold on, I'm just asking because I got removed, so I didn't know if I did a
Check,
violation or
check.
something.
We have to explain. Am I obligated to explain why you got removed off the panel? Is it mandatory?
Like there are rocks that been that there are minerals that crystallize at different time when the earth magnetic field is actually slightly pointing in different directions, and each time these crystals these mineral crystallize, the direction of the magnetic field, each mineral in the crystal is aligned to that direction. That's a way that geologists can use to date rocks based on based on what was going on at the time with the earth magnetic field and the direction of of how these rocks are crystallized. Also, if you did not have a magnetic field, it would be impossible for you to make magnets on the earth. As soon as you make a magnet, that magnet would have just went haywire. You would have been demagnetized. Or as soon as you bring that magnet close to another magnet, that magnet would have been demagnetized or copy the larger magnetic field. The reason why none of that happened on Earth is because the Earth itself has the greatest magnetic field. So once you're on Earth, every single thing that has magnetic property has to obey the magnetic field of the earth. That's literally how you make a magnet. You
Can I comment
magnetize
now?
it. That's like we use compass. If geologist was wrong, your compass wouldn't work.
Okay, can I comment on that? Have you ever heard of something
You have
called
a choice.
can I comment on
Are you
that? Are
gonna
you
ask
finished?
the question and then do it anyway, whether
Bro,
you
He,
bro,
want
we don't
he's
have to
doing
be
what
disrespectful.
every
I'm just
pseudo
making sure
do.
you're
He's doing
finished. I'm just making sure.
I didn't know I had to do so much fucking work to get a new stream going. But
typical pseudo trying to do
regular time.
the got you moment.
What the hell am I going through all this shit for? You back in the lab, I mean?
No, I'm on the road this
Oh,
morning. Yeah, that's why I wasn't on last night.
Yeah, it's a little too early for this shit, Nathan. We just need you to just come and just.
how far you going out?
I'm going up to Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit too early for this shit, Nathan.
That's like maybe like 300 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to play the got you moment. Typical abos.
Bro, I'm answering the question. I politely just asked if you're done so I can go on to answer. I don't know what I did wrong there. I just asked if you're finished politely so I can respond. That's all I did. So in response to about the magnetism, right? I was going to bring up there's something called the curing point, and what that is basically when you melt a magnet, it no longer attracts magnetic things to it, right? So hypothetically, if the core of the Earth is magma and all this molten metal and all this, well, it wouldn't attract things to it because of the curing point.
The Earth
Are you
is
familiar
not.
with that, the scientific term?
Yeah. Every magnet have a heating point that when you heat it over that point, then the atoms become unstable and they loses that magnetic field. Magnetism is just electron in an atom aligning in the same direction. That's all the magnetism is. The Earth is
But
not
how are
permanent magnet. I'm
but how
explaining it to you.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to explain it to you. The Earth is not a permanent magnet. That is why you don't. That is why you're able to pick up a piece of metal that is on the surface of the Earth. It's not a permanent magnet. The Earth possesses electromagnetic properties, and that that special property that it possesses tells the motion of the earth. It also tells the composition of the core, and it also tells that it is electrically charged. The only reason that could be happening is if you have hot molten iron that is turning around. It's in motion. Hot molten iron that's a like no, it's like a plasma that is in motion, that's electrically charged. That is why we have the Earth magnetic field. It's an electromagnetic field. That is why we know it would be impossible for the Earth to be flat and stationary, because on a flat, stationary surface, you would not have electromagnetic properties, hence a magnetic field. You could take it from there.
Okay. Could I ask you this? Would we agree that like the core of the Earth is that hotter than like how we could get a magnet to the curing point, like up here on the surface? Would you agree it's like hotter in like the core of the Earth than up here? I think we could agree on that, correct?
Mhm.
Oh, you said yes? I didn't hear you.
What do you say? So I know what you're. If I'm gonna agree
Okay.
or disagree.
Okay, I'll say it again. What I asked is, would you agree with me that the core of the Earth, right, in the heliocentric model, it would be hotter than any curing point that we could get a magnet to up here on the surface? Would you agree with me on that?
We can reach temperature with the Hadron Collider. We can reach temperature like rivaling or even surpassing the core of the sun. So no, but I get
Core
what
of
you're
the sun.
saying. I get what you're saying, that the core of the earth is really hot and it would demagnetize any magnet that's any magnetic elements that's in the earth. I get it. But again,
Okay, but
it's not
how do you
permanent
know?
magnet,
How
it's
do you know what the
electro.
core of the sun is, though? Like how do you know that? No, first of all, nobody can even approach the sun. So how do we know what the core of the sun is? Like how hot it is? How do we know that?
Because we know what's going on. It's fusing
Oh,
hydrogen and helium, and depending on the size of the sun, it could be fusing other elements like lithium, carbon, oxygen. But yeah,
well,
we know what's in it. We know that we
well,
know
wouldn't you
the
call
most
that a theory,
abundant.
though?
No, it's not a theory. We know that we've seen the most abundant elements in the universe. We've seen how gravity affects elements in comparison to size. Like we know we've seen like the radiation from the hydrogen and the helium. We know how hydrogen and helium look when it burns. We can burn hydrogen and helium here on Earth and observe it using instrument, and then look at the sun and observe the same thing, see the same frequencies that's being produced from these elements being burning when you observe
Okay.
them under under a
o- o-
spectrometer.
Okay, but real quick, but my point, like say for instance, right? Like they claim that we can fit. Some scientists say we can fit 1,000,000 Earths inside the sun. Others say 100 Earth. Like if you were to take an Earth and put it inside the sun, it would take like 100 Earths to fill the sun. Some even claim 1,000,000, believe it or not. But the point I'm bringing this up, if this is supposedly so huge as they claim, how could we, as supposedly as insignificant as we are, according to modern science and the evolution theory, how do we know what's in the center of this, the core of the sun? It seems like all bunch of science fiction to me.
No, because science
And I think you're just
is,
repeating this stuff because you were told in school that's why you're repeating it.
Oh, he getting at you again, man.
well, those little silly talking points is not going to divert me from
But
trying to better myself using science.
okay, but how,
Science,
how does knowing the core of the
science,
sun better you though?
science is the study of the natural universe. Study of the natural universe, not the supernatural, not the fictional, not the artificial. Study of the natural universe. That's what science is.
Would you say the Big Bang is supernatural? Because that's something we can't see. And the word supernary, that's what the definition of supernatural means. So would you say the Big Bang is supernatural because that's out of the ordinary? We can't see it?
No.
Supernatural.
Yeah, the definition
You
of
better get him, my
supernatural,
man.
the definition of supernatural, according to Wikipedia, means, again, it can have multiple different meanings, but something out of the ordinary or something unseen can be considered supernatural. So, by definition, the Big Bang Theory, that is supernatural by definition.
We're
And
living in
you
we're
guys believe in
living
that, though, right?
Is this Thursday morning?
we're living in a physical universe, and we use mathematics and physics to determine and make sense of the phenomena that we experience in our physical universe. Supernatural, as I'm using it, is is pertaining to stuff outside of the realm of physics. So anything that falls under metaphysical, spiritual, and any of those.
But the
Super
Big Bang fits under that too because science can't
no.
replicate it. So technically fits under that as well, by definition.
Science is not trying to recreate the
Oh,
universe.
absolutely.
To
There's
repro-
been thousands of documentaries and scientists around the world who tried to recreate the Big Bang and the origin of life in laboratories. Matter of fact, you know what I find ironic? Even the what is this thing? The CERN thing, right? The collider. that you mentioned earlier, even that's trying to replicate the Big Bang and what happened at that moment. That's what I've watched documentaries on it, right? The Hadron Collider. Ironically enough, that's even trying to attempt with that. So just off that example, it shows you that there's scientists who are trying to recreate the moment of the Big Bang so they can understand what happened, right?
uh, trying creating a condition, creating a similar condition so you could make observations that would have appeared in conditions similar to what they're trying to recreate is not the same thing as trying to recreate the environment or trying to recreate life. It's not the same thing.
Wait, what environment of the Big Bang? Because all according to the theory, there was nothing there, but then a particle, or they collided or expanded. Again, there's multiple theories on how the thing happened, right? So according to the theories, it either imploded and made everything, or two particles collided into one another, right? So again, they're trying to replicate this in laboratories around the world, in science laboratories. So again, to say that's not true, that's just going against all these studies that they've done, even the one you mentioned earlier with the Hadron Collider, because that's literally the story. You can watch it on YouTube. The scientists explain this.
What they're doing with Hadron Collider is trying to do what star does naturally, but they're trying to do it in a more efficient manner. That's
speaking of
simple what
CERN,
they're trying
don't you
to
think it's a little odd they have a statue of the god Shiva outside of the CERN headquarters, talking about gods and supernatural? Don't you find that a little bit odd? Why they have a pagan god outside their headquarters? As a matter of fact, they've also somebody on video. You can look this up. Somebody called on video a cult going to the Shiva statue and doing a ritual in front of the Shiva statue outside the CERN headquarters. Like, don't you find this a little bit odd for a scientific laboratory? Like, isn't that weird?
I don't believe in conspiracies like that. So
Oh, okay, but even if that's the case, why do you think they have a pagan god Shiva outside of the CERN headquarters? Like, why is that there?
it could be there for any reason. Do you know that?
But there's nothing deep to it though. Like, it means nothing. They just put it there as a decoration.
It could just be there for artistic purpose. As
But
human
why that
being,
though? Well, why a pagan god?
as I said,
like for the audience, that seems a little bit strange, doesn't it? Why would they pick a pagan god out of the millions of things?
You're seeing because you're in a religious mindset. You're seeing a pagan god. That's what you're seeing. But to a scientist,
really? Look the image up and tell me what else it is.
To a scientist, they're seeing a artistic piece from the Indian culture. Maybe there's a lot of Indian scientists working at that facility.
So why does it look identical to the ancient god then? Why does it look identical to Shiva? If it's just like an Indian thing?
Why don't you ask these people themselves? You know that they actually, you could write NASA a freaking letter and ask them all these questions.
You can't.
Why you're asking me all these arbitrary questions about
because you didn't know much about it. That's why.
So why are you asking me about it, knowing that I don't know much about it?
Because I'm showing the dishonesty and showing the audience that you don't really, and again, I say this with all due respect, but I'm showing them that you don't really know what's going on with the whole CERN thing. First of all, you didn't know that they were trying to recreate the Big Bang, but you didn't know they had a pagan god.
So I'm telling you that I don't believe your conspiracy about them having a statue out there and for the purpose of it being a pagan god. You don't know for a fact that they're out there worshiping any pagan god. You're making that determination
outside next to it. Like, you don't. Again, this is not hidden. You can look this up. There was literally a ritual outside of CERN by the statue.
What makes
it's on the internet.
What makes you think it was a ritual? And if it was a ritual, what makes you think that? What makes you think that it was done by people that works there? Suppose it's just a group of weirdos doing a YouTube video. People does that all the time.
Hypothetically, even if it was just like a cult that came there to do it, not the workers there, it still begs the question: well, why the hell do they have this outside of this this area. Hell, same thing with the Denver airport. You ever saw
And
the horse
that you
statue
gotta
they have outside of
ask.
there? You ever heard that one?
That you got to ask them themselves. You can't be asking me those questions. I wasn't there when they made the decision to put a statue outside the door.
But I'm
That
saying
has
you don't
nothing.
find nothing weird
That
about that, though.
no, that literally has nothing to do with science. Literally has nothing to do
Okay,
with
well,
science.
maybe do you
Ask me
find
stuff about science.
okay, well, let me ask you this. Does it sound a little weird to you how the weeks and planets are named after pagan and Greek gods? Does that sound a little strange?
No, it doesn't sound weird to me. The months, and the
Okay.
days of the week, and the months of the year are also named after some weird pagan gods.
Right, but that's all a coincidence. It means nothing, right?
As I said, those are social arbitrary stuff that means nothing to me.
But why would they name them after these pagan things, though? Like, why not name it after something else?
What does that have to do with science?
Well, let me give you one example, right? Like, say, for instance, Sunday, right? Saturday was named after Saturn. Sunday was named after the sun. So Catholics that worship on Sunday, that's a form of sun worship because they're supposedly worshiping Jesus on the sun's day. So that's one example of the symbolism behind
What
these.
does that have to do with science? What does that have to do with science?
Well,
The
I was
study
just
of the
giving you
natural
a
universe.
Friends with everybody, boy. I don't understand.
I don't want to hear all that crap. It has nothing to do with science. It's a waste of spliff.